So good morning, guys. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Internet of Things, which is just basically the concept that anything with an on and off switch can be connected to the Internet. So let's expand kind of our thinking beyond just laptops and smartphones. Let's think about things like washing machines, coffee makers. So this quote from Forbes gives you an idea of just how big some people think the Internet of Things is going to be. Anything that can be connected will be connected, and this is going to be a huge trend. There are a few central technologies that are going to enable the Internet of Things to really blow up. Among them, Bluetooth, NFC or near field communication, and sensors. The first two, Bluetooth and NFC or near field communications, are really very similar. They're both methods of short range communication. So with Bluetooth, you automatically think of something like your speaker, but for NFC, some call it like Apple Pay for Apple, mobile payment through NFC. There are also a ton of sensors that can now be built into devices that allow them to collect unique types of information and then send that information back. One example is the Nest thermostat, which of course has temperature sensors within it. So let's quantify the potential of the Internet of Things. The McKinsey Global Institute estimates that by the year 2025, the Internet of Things will account for $4 to $11 trillion in economic activity per year. So this is going to be, just to put that in perspective, the GDP of the United States is something like 16 trillion or something. So it's going to be an absolute huge movement. They see this playing out in 9 key settings, ranging from the home, office, and everywhere in between. So the first setting is the human body. So we hear a lot about wearable devices. So these are devices that are either attached to or actually inside the human body that are primarily aimed at health and wellness purposes. The classic example of this is the Fitbit. The next setting is the home. So there are a number of home controllers and security systems that are going to benefit from being connected to the Internet. Just one example is ADT's home automation system, where you can actually sign in from a remote location, actually like turn off the lights in your house. In the retail environment, so say you're walking down the aisle of a grocery store and they detect your presence there and they can look at your shopping history and they send you a notification for a coupon on apples, say. Very cool stuff. In offices, employee productivity is going to be the central focus of the Internet of Things. So imagine a world in which every employee got a pair of Google Glasses, and when they received an important email, it popped up right in front of their face and they could immediately do something with it. In factories, repetitive tasks are going to be a central aim of the Internet of Things. So when we went to Amazon Robotics, they had these drives that were connected to the Internet and received instructions on how to most efficiently move product throughout the warehouse. On work sites, again, efficiency is the name of the game. So imagine an oil rig who has parts that are connected to the Internet and can communicate with the owner on when maintenance is required, how old they are, pretty cool stuff. In vehicles, so self-driving cars are going to be a huge trend, we all know that. And the very basis of self-driving cars requires something be connected to the Internet. So in this Tesla, of course, this GPS is connected to allow the car to be steered. In cities, there exists immense potential for better resource management. So imagine adaptive traffic lights that can study traffic patterns and then help cut down on congestion by adapting to those patterns. Outside, so this is the final setting, and this really refers to any setting that's outside of the urban area. So imagine on the Pacific Ocean, a shipping container that's connected to the Internet and can tell where in the world it is and how much stuff it's carrying, and then be able to communicate with its owner. So not surprisingly, 60% of this economic impact is going to be felt in developed economies like our own and that of Western Europe, only 40% in developing like Latin America. And already there are a ton of privacy concerns regarding the Internet of Things. I already mentioned a device that actually could be within the human body that opens a Pandora's box. So this is going to be an ongoing debate in society, and one that I'm sure is going to plague regulators for years to come. So I'm going to end here with this graphic that just shows kind of the exponential character of the growth expected in the Internet of Things space from 2009, when there were about 5 billion devices connected to the Internet, all the way through to 2020, when there's expected to be some 50 billion devices connected to the Internet. So I will now show my Vine.